Hey humans. Welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn. I'm going to read to you. Is that alright? I hope so. Gonna do it anyway. Because I can. La da dee. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Chapter 35. Not 25, but it's 35. Okay, let's get on the chapter. Oh my god, I lost my page. Just kidding. 35. Elizabeth awoke the next morning to the same thoughts and meditations which had at length closed her eyes. She could not yet recover from the surprise of what had happened. It was impossible to think of anything else. And, totally indisposed for employment, she resolved, soon after breakfast, to indulge herself in air and exercise. She was proceeding directly to her favorite walk, when the recollection of Mr. Darcy's sometimes coming there stopped her, and instead of entering the park, she turned... My mic is still on. Oh, my mic's still on, just checking. She turned up the lane, in which led her farther from the turnpike road. The park paling was still the boundary on one side, and she soon passed one of the gates into the ground. After walking 2 or 3 times along that part of the lane, she was tempted by the pleasantness of the morning to stop at the gates and look into the park. The 5 weeks which she had now passed in Kent had made a great difference in the country, and every day was adding to the verdure of the early trees. She was on the point of continuing her walk when she caught a glimpse of a gentleman within the sort of grove which edged the park. He was moving that way, and fearful of it being Mr. Darcy, she was directly retreating. You can't live your life avoiding people. I do that, and I'm just stuck indoors all the time. Doesn't work out. You just get scared of everything. There's bugs outside. There's people outside. Everybody wants to hurt you. Everybody wants to steal from you. But the person who advanced was now near enough to see her, and stepping forward with eagerness, pronounced her name. Elizabeth! Bitch! She's like, what? Who the fuck called me that? Made you look. Because I respect women. That's what he says. Whoever this guy is. Whoever this person is. Is it a guy? She said it was a guy. Elizabeth. But she turned away. But on hearing herself called, though in a voice which proved it to be Mr. Darcy, she moved again towards the gate. He had, by that time, reached it also, and holding out a letter, which she instinctively took, said, with a look of haughty composure, I have been walking in the grove some time in the hope of meeting you. Will you do me the honor of reading that letter? And then, and this is what Mr. Darcy said. This is creepy, though. I have been walking... Let's just make it creepy. I have been walking in the grove sometime in the hope of meeting you. Will you do me the honor of reading that letter? and then with a slight bow, turned again into the plantation, and was soon out of sight, like a creepy ninja. With no expectation of pleasure, but with the strongest curiosity, Elizabeth opened the letter, and to her still increasing wonder perceived an envelope containing 2 sheets of letter, plain. What? 2 sheets of letter paper, written quite through in a very close hand. The envelope itself was likewise full. Pursuing her way along the lane, she then began it. It was dated from Rosings at 8 o'clock in the morning, and was as follows. Oh my God. Are you ready for this? Whoo, let's get a drink of water first. Okay. Ain't no stopping here. Until there is. Let's do this. The letter reads so. Be not alarmed, madame, on receiving this letter, by the apprehension of its containing any repetition of those sentiments or renewal of those offers which were last night so disgusting to you. He just wants to bring up the points. He's like, you really hurt my feelings. You kind of dug that knife in a little deep. I write without any intention of paining you or humbling myself, by dwelling on wishes which, for the happiness of both, cannot be too soon forgotten, and the effort which the formation and the perusal of this letter must occasion. Should have been spared had not my character required it to be written and read. That is okay. Let me reread that sentence for you with quotations and all. I write without any intention of paining you or humbling myself, by dwelling on wishes which for the happiness of both cannot be too soon forgotten, and the effort which the formation and the perusal of this letter must occasion should have been spared had not my character required it to be written and read. You must, therefore, pardon the freedom with which I demand your attention, your feeling. I know will bestow it unwillingly, but I demand it of your justice. Two offenses of a very different nature and by no means of equal magnitude you last night laid to my charge. The first mentioned was that, regardless of the sentiments of either, I had detached Mr. Bingley from your sister. And the other, that I had, in defiance of various claims, in defiance of honor and humanity, ruined the immediate prosperity and blasted the prospects of Mr. Wickham. Willfully and wantonly I have thrown off the companion. Willfully and wantonly to have thrown off the companion of my youth, the acknowledged favorite of my father, a young man who had scarcely any other dependence than on our patronage, and who had been brought up to expect its exertion, would be a depravity to which the separation of two young persons whose affection could be the growth of only a week's, could bear no comparison. But from the severity of that blame which was last night so liberally bestowed, respecting each circumstance, I shall hope to be in future secured, when the following account of my actions and their motives has been read. If in the explanation of them, which is due to myself, I am under the necessity of relating feelings which may be offensive to yours, I can only say that I am sorry. The necessity must be obeyed, and further apology would be absurd. Let's get comfy. That's how I cough from now on, just so we're clear. It has not been long in Hertfordshire before I saw, in common with others, that Bingley preferred your elder sister to any other young woman in the country. But it was not till the evening of the dance at Netherfield that I had any apprehension of his feeling a serious attachment. I had often seen him in love before. At that ball, while I had the honor of dancing with you, I was first made acquainted by Sir William Lucas's accidental information that Bingley's attention to your sister had given rise to a general expectation of their marriage. He spoke of it as a certain event, of which the time alone could be undecided. From that moment I observed my friend's behavior unattentively, and I could then perceive that his partiality for Miss Bennet was beyond what I had ever witnessed in him. Your sister I also watched. Her look and manners were open, cheerful, and engaged as ever, but without any symptoms of peculiar regard. And I remained convinced from the evening's scrutiny that though she received his attentions with pleasure, she did not invite them by any participation of sentiment. If you have not been mistaken here, I must have been in error. Your superior knowledge of your sister must make the latter probable. If it be so, if I have been misled by such error to inflict pain on her, your resentment has not been unreasonable, but I shall not scruple to assert that the serenity of your sister's countenance and air was such as might have given the most acute observer a conviction that, however amiable her temper, her heart was not likely to be easily touched. That I was desirous of believing her indifferent is certain, but I will venture to say that my investigations and decisions are not usually influenced by my hopes or fears. I did not believe her to be indifferent because I wished it. I believed it on impartial conviction as truly as I wished it in reason. My objections to the marriage were not merely those which I last night acknowledged to have required the utmost force of passion to put aside. In my own case, the want of connection could not be so great an evil to my friend as to me. But there were other causes of repugnance, causes which, though still existing, and existing to an equal degree in both instances, I had myself endeavored to forget because they were not immediately before me. These causes must be stated, though briefly. The situation of your mother's family, though objectionable, was nothing in comparison of that total want of propriety so frequently, so almost uniformly betrayed by herself, by your 3 younger sisters, and occasionally even by your father. Pardon me, it pains me to offend you, but amidst your concern for the defects of your nearest relations and your displeasure at this representation of them, let it give you consolation to consider that, to have conducted yourself so as to avoid any share of the like censure is praise no less generally bestowed on you and your eldest sister than it is honorable to the sense and disposition of both. She doesn't know what to think of this. She's probably reading this being like, this guy is jibber-jabbering all day long. What does he need to explain this shit for? I will only say further that from what passed that evening, my opinion of all parties was confirmed and every inducement heightened which could have led me before to preserve my friend from what I esteemed a most unhappy connection. He left Netherfield for London on the day following, as you, I am certain, remember, with the desire of soon returning. Makes sense. Okay. Let us. That wasn't a cough. That was me clearing my throat. I clear my throat like that now. When I cough, I'm like. A little like that. It's unreasonably ridiculous, but it's who I am now. Let's do this. We're going to do a part 2. A very good part 2. We are going to read beyond part 1. Am I right? So let's do this. I really enjoy what's going on here. It's kind of like pretty good. Explanation is what's going on. Darcy is just doing too much talking and explaining. He just wants to be understood. It's like when you are getting so frustrated with life and you want to take that one shortcut, and someone watches you take that one shortcut, and they look at you and they're like, "How dare you take that shortcut? Come on!" And you're just like, "But it was the first time I took that shortcut, and I always don't take the shortcut. And there's other people that take the shortcut. I just wanted to. Why are you yelling at me? I need you to know what is real. I need to explain myself. No one will ever understand you. No one will ever understand what the fuck is going on. Oh my God. Anyway, hey, if you want to check out some more, please subscribe and hit that like button. Comment down below if you want to let me know what you're thinking. And please, stay weird.